Hello and welcome to this video tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to create a construction sequence diagram in SketchUp. Now the idea of the diagram is to create an animation like the following to showcase just a basic site staging. So in this case we're just showing where fire lanes are, circulation, traffic, general boundary areas, and then just a column and sort of floor plan of the building. For purposes of this tutorial, this isn't a real building, obviously, but I just want to give you an idea of how you could create something like this in a real project. So let me pause the animation. What you want to do here in SketchUp is essentially create your model. So in this case, the model has several different groups. So for instance, the crane is a group. All of the different floor plans or footprints are grouped objects, as well as a row of columns is also a group, and these are actually components sent inside. You got the fence in as a group, the site as a group, the fire lanes as individual groups, and also the circulation or traffic path. Now to create the animation so it flows something like shown, essentially what you want to do is create section cuts. To do that, you just use the section tool. You can see how when you're using the section tool, it tries to align to whichever plane you're currently on. Now if I'm not inside of a group or component, it's just going to cut everything in the model. Creates this little diagram here, and you can move this up and down, and you see how it's actually an active cut. Now there's a trick to this in that you can have, first off, you can hide the active planes as well as you can deactivate them. So if I'm at the traffic one, you can deactivate all of them to see your model. The trick is when you're in those specific groups, you want to create a scene that goes from a section cut here that's active to a section cut here that's active. So if we can just roll through the beginnings, essentially create all of your geometry, create two section planes inside of each group. So you're always going to want two section planes, one below so that you can't see anything, and one above. You then want to make sure that each section plane is active so that essentially if you were to hide the planes, you would start with nothing in the model. Next, just go to, you can turn off or show the planes and figure out which object you want to show first. So in this case, we want the area to show. That would be this area here. And I want to make this active, so I can right click on it and select Activate Cut. Once that's active, you would then add a scene, or in this case I can update my next scene. So once that's added, I would rename it as area, and then I would go on to the next scene. So in this case I want the fence to show. So for the fence it would be this plane here. Oops. Be a little bit tricky because you got to find everything. So I'd activate this cut, right click on the scene and click add, or in this case I'm updating. If you didn't have any scenes here, which you shouldn't, you would continually just to add. So from here you'll notice then, so I can go to the fence, the fire lanes, and notice you can have two cuts active at the same time in this scene. So for example, this is going from here to there, while at the same time this group is going from here to there. The traffic, you'll notice I even try to curve it here a little bit just to add sort of the idea that it's sort of curving in. You can certainly do that. The crane, the columns, and so on. Once you figure out the pattern, it's pretty repetitious, so once you understand the principles of it, it's pretty easy to do. One thing, however, once you have it completed, if you try to add something else into it, sort of in between two scenes, it becomes very tricky to do. So I definitely recommend having the model finished and then going through and adding all of your scene elements. You'll notice on some of these too, you can change the view. So maybe I don't like this angle of it. I can just turn a little bit more and update that scene. You'll notice when I go back, it goes back to forth. Now I don't want these here, so I'll just turn them off like so. To find those extra section tools, you want to go to View Toolbars, or on a Mac, you want to go to Customize Toolbar and drag these two icons up. To finish, I can just go to File, Export, Animation. Let's just take that through one more time and see what it looks like. One thing I forgot to mention while this is going through. Under Tools, or excuse me, under Window Model Info, and then click on Animation, you can adjust the scene delay. So in this case I have it to 0, so there's no pause, as well as the transition time. So if this is going too fast or too slow, you can adjust that. So maybe I want to set this to 2. You'll see it slows down just a little bit. Then I can just go to File, Export. Well, good luck. Remember, active scenes or active section cuts, you want to go from one to another. For more information on video tutorials, 3D modeling, and training, go to db-3d.com.